Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Cannabis Unlocked. I'm your host, Jordan Youkilis, and today I'm very excited to be joined by the CEO of Baked Bags, Jared Masarek. Jared, how are you doing today?
Very good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining the show and for the conversation. I'm sure all of our listeners are going to be really excited to learn a little bit more about Baked Bags and what you're seeing in the cannabis industry these days.
Right now, we're all online, but we are coming out with a ton of new products and working on building out rewards platforms and affiliate programs to kind of bring the brand to different markets throughout the country. Right now, we're all Delta 9 edibles and THCA smokables, but working on a whole bunch of new things.
Great. Yeah. Well, why don't we kick it off with a little bit of background on the company itself, how Baked Bags came to be, and then would also love if you could wrap in your own background and how you came to be running the company.
Yeah. So I've been a part of the company since 2021. It was started at the end of 2020 by a friend from college, Jordan Feinstein. I was actually the first investor in 2021 when it started to kind of take off and got involved. I was actually in the background of the company, in the early days, but you know, on calls here and there. Over time, kind of realized that the industry was definitely shifting to an online platform, and got more hands on, and over the course of a couple of years did a few buyouts and took control and became CEO July of last year. So it's been quite a journey over the last few years, and hopefully we have some more journey to go outside of November.
Yeah. And how did you get interested in the cannabis space originally? Like, had you been paying attention to it, or was it just kind of a fortuitous moment where your friend brought this opportunity to you?
um, I've actually been a major fan of cannabis in its entirety since the early days, and did cannabis sales before we could do cannabis sales way back in the day, like most people in this industry, um, and always knew that this was what I wanted to do. I've been on pretty much every side of the space at this point, from cultivation, manufacturing, distribution. Worked on the software side very early on, but this has definitely been where my focus is, especially over the last year.
Hmm. Gotcha. That makes sense. And talk some more about the history of baked bags. Like, how did you all decide to focus on Delta 9 products and edibles and smokable THCA and uh, versus going the dispensary channel?
Um, I mean, everything is going virtual, and it's definitely a different legal landscape to go into the recreational markets and start different businesses in different states and manage different teams. So this was kind of like the opportunity to just create a brand on a nationwide scale, and mainly through social media. So that's kind of how this business uh, blew up over the last couple of years. Is we've had a bunch of viral videos of like people eating edibles and like getting too stoned and their eyes getting red. So that's like what we're really known for. And then this business over the last like year specifically has really turned into like a much larger brand than we ever expected. So it's been cool to see.
Yeah, that is really cool. And how did you decide what form factors to build out? I'd say that's definitely a big differentiator for you guys is a lot of the unique edible products that you bring to market.
I can't take credit for it, so I got to give credit where credit is due. Jordan Feinstein did start this and came up with the cone skew. Just started with one product, which is the milk chocolate cones, and then turned into six flavors of cones, and then with that unique product, which it wasn't out in the market yet. That was kind of like what built the groundwork and the foundation of this brand, coming out with cool, fun ways to get baked. It's as simple as that. So that led to cookie dough, which of course then, we have to have a gummy. So we had a bunch of flavors of gummies. to infuse caramel popcorn. We just, launched some hard candies. We have lollipops coming, just really any way that isn't just the standard, standard gummy, although we do have great tasting gummies. But yeah, I mean, we're just going to keep putting our heads down and coming out with new products and pray that this November ban, gets reversed in some capacity, or if there's some framework we can follow to stay online.
Yeah. So let's talk about that some more. The November ban that's coming up. Would you give some history on, what that is for folks who aren't as familiar?
I mean, this whole hemp Delta 9 industry really started from the 2018 Farm Bill, giving, access to sell these products online, which, in my opinion, I do think is the total future for this space. Sorry, remind me of the
Yeah,
of
just
the initial
some
question.
background
Sorry.
on the legislation that's going to close the intoxicating hemp loophole, and how you think that could impact your guys' business.
Yeah, I mean, the term loophole is always a tough one to use. I mean, we're a legitimate business. We test all of our products. But yeah, this 2018 Farm Bill is going to get it, with the government shutdown in last November. We're expecting to basically shut our doors down by the middle of November of 26. So $30 billion industry, hundreds of thousands of people employed, like gone overnight for what?
Right.
It's just kind of a crazy thing to see, where these products aren't harming anybody, and people are just getting baked at home, while you have alcohol on every corner and Ozempic on the TV every night. It's kind of wild to see, like, we're going backwards politically and legislatively, or whatever the word is, this year in 2026. It's just wild to me.
Sure. Well, I think the counter argument is that with the 2018 Farm Bill was never meant to legalize intoxicating THC products in the first place, and so I think that was part of the rationale for why they wanted to adjust that coming out of the government shutdown last year. But I hear you. And so, do you think there's any chance that that gets changed before we hit that November deadline, or how are you thinking about potentially adjusting your business model if not?
I mean, we're actively looking into the California market. I live in Venice, California, so that's kind of an easy lift for me. I've been in this space for a long time, and think that I can, pivot there. But we're looking for other opportunities in other states. It's just, one thing at a time. I think the California is a good market to start in.
Yeah, that makes sense. And how do you think about new product development? Like, are there other new form factors you think could be interesting?
I mean, this new wave of all the drinks, which I've actually personally fallen in love with. Shout out to the Cheech and Chong drinks. I just got a 4-pack of theirs and loved them. So we're coming out with a drink, but as we're an online business, big drinks are expensive to ship and break our products, like our waffle cones, for example. So we're coming out with some shots. We're in the R&D phase, but that's that's an avenue that hopefully will have a carve out in this farm bill, it seems.
Yeah.
But I'm not an attorney, and we talk to people on the cannabis side and the hemp side and the payment processing side, and nobody seems to know truly what's going to happen.
Right.
It's just a lot of speculation all around. So, our goal is just kind of heads down, and if it closes, we'll, liquidate everything at the end. But
Yeah.
it's kind of hard when you're running a business and you just want to keep growing, and so we're just heads down, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. And it looks like from our side, it's probably more likely that a certain amount of hemp-derived THC in edibles is allowed, more so than smokable THCA remaining. But I'm curious if you would agree with that, or have different thoughts.
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't really have the answer. I think they're definitely, THCA is definitely a harder product to get through. Um, we're an edible business. We just launched THCA products very recently. I'm a smoker, so wanted to have some products that I enjoy and consume as well. Um, but we're heads down. We're we're gonna keep praying and that this thing gets reversed.
Yeah.
And if it in the same time keep pivoting into other spaces, other states if that's how it goes. But I am hearing something about a bill that maybe will allow interstate commerce for cannabis products with very specific milligram dosages and caps and all that. But once again, like nobody knows, and every state's different. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
just keep bobbing and weaving.
Totally. And as you think about getting into new states, like what are some, like, how do you decide which ones to target for expansion first?
uh, I think our brand is pretty well known in like New York, and New York's a great market. So that would definitely be on the target list. I saw that you're from Cincy,
Mm.
so Ohio is definitely one. My whole mom's side of the family is from Columbus. Ohio would be a great one to get into.
Yeah.
Arizona, I've got some connections out there that we'll start reaching out to over the next few weeks. And California, I think, is definitely where we'll start in the recreational market.
Gotcha. And you were touching on earlier some of the ups and downs for baked bags as the business got up and running. And, I think that's very endemic for the cannabis industry as a whole, as well as startups in general. So I'd love if you would just walk us through some of the biggest challenges and successes you faced since baked bags got off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, in any cannabis business, there's always fires. This industry has been, it's a tough one for sure. You're constantly bobbing and weaving. Laws are changing, packaging requirements are changing. But it's also we were not a very well funded company. I was the first investor. It's a very small amount of money. So once again, props to Jordan for building a beautiful company. Over this last few years. To what it is. And then like I said, I took it over in July of 25, and um, we're just going to continue to scale. But at some point, we almost went out of business in 2023. We luckily kind of like figured out this whole marketing avenue on social media, which we weren't doing prior, and just creating funny videos. Like that's honestly our secret sauce. We have a bunch of creators that we send product to all the time, and they're making videos every day, and it's that's kind of like what popped the brand off.
Yeah. What have been some of the most successful videos?
Um, a lot of them are, I like to call them like cause and effect videos, where, eat a cone, like then you're stoned on the couch, like shoving your face with Taco Bell. That's like always does really, really well.
Yeah.
It's like, the classic is like I ate edibles and then I couldn't stop eating for like 2 hours after. So those videos tend to do really well. One of our creators had a video that did like 140 million views and kind of put us on the map. And then we started replicating and making other funny videos and working with new creators and influencers and, you know, trying to just build like a community around like, you know, smoking weed and eating edibles are fun. It's that simple. A lot of these companies are like marketing being like, eat this and feel that. At the end of the day, like edibles are edibles and like your body reacts how it reacts. But most importantly, everyone's doing it for the most part to have fun. Um, so that's kind of like our whole game plan is keep making fun stuff and make fun content that people relate to and want to join our community.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That makes total sense. And have you found it to be challenging to market online? Like I know a lot of traditional marketing platforms won't accept anything cannabis or hemp related. So I'm curious if you've had any challenges to navigate there.
Of course, we there's definitely some confusion around our brand because we have so many different Instagram accounts. Um, they get shut down all the time. It's very frustrating, but you just once again bob and weave. Uh, we're we do a lot of paid ads, and our ad account is down as we speak. So that's always, it's just, there's constant fires in this business, and you just got to bob and weave. We say it all the time internally, and it's just like, all right, this happened, now we got to renavigate, recalibrate, and figure out like what to do next. But at the end of the day, like, I think we create fun and unique things and give a great experience, and people come back and find ways to find us again. If the Instagram goes down, or Meta account goes down, whatever, we've got a pretty good community behind us.
Yeah, makes sense. And you touched on the challenges in fundraising in the cannabis sector. I mean, have you all tried to raise additional capital? Have you been able to sustain yourself with cash flow?
Yeah, we're the only investment ever into this business was my initial one in
Mhm.
2021. It's a very
Mhm.
small amount. But yeah, I mean, we're cash flow positive. We are no debt. We like outsource a lot of our manufacturing. We've got great partners. Not everyone can make every product amazing. So we like to, do highly targeted, like, co-mans who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So we're kind of making our products all over the map. That way we can deliver a great product.
Yeah, yeah, makes total sense. And how do you think about the supply chain? I know that's one concern people raise in terms of banning intoxicating hemp products is that they're not going through the same testing or compliance requirements as the state regulated dispensary channel. So I'm curious, like, how have you thought about that, and have you been able to source quality ingredients that are the same level of quality folks would be getting from edibles in the dispensary?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we work with a lot of good manufacturers. We've had you know oil manufacturers that we source from for our edibles. We've been using them for a long time. All of our stuff is lab tested, by batch. Um, our chocolate our chocolate products are delicious. So we use a great chocolate. Uh, we do want to use the best ingredients, and especially with this whole health movement, we're gearing towards like dye-less products. Florida's really big into that right now, and kind of pushing the line, removing all dyes and synthetics and stuff like that. We've been, to jump back, we're not only a Delta 9 website, we also have Delta 8 products, and have recently made the decision to just like, if you go to our website, they're literally 60% off. We're just getting rid of them. And we're going to discontinue them after 420,
Mhm.
because we just think, all synthetic cannabinoids are going to go away. It's also just a lower quality product. D9 rosin products, for edibles, I think, is the future. Lower milligrams. It's a stronger product, better dosed. So we're constantly, tweaking and finding new manufacturers and new ingredients, and just trying to stay up to date and have the best products on the market.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, staying up to date, having the best products on the market, that'll be a ticket to long-term success.
We hope so. We hope so.
Yeah. Well, Jared, this has been such a fun conversation. If folks want to learn more about baked bags or get in touch with you, are there any places they can go?
Our website, bakebags.com. Our main Instagram, like I said, we have a bunch, but our main one is baked.bags. That's really our main place. We have a broadcast channel where we're doing like daily deals, and we've got a newsletter where we, kind of tell you what products are coming out, or, if you want to become an affiliate of ours, if you want some free product. That's kind of like our main game is we do this big promo, where if you want to pay for shipping, we'll send you a free bag. We're confident in our products. We know you'll be back, and they hit. So
Yeah.
that's that's our whole business model right there.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thanks again, Jared, and
Yeah, thank
you
you,
have a great
Jordan.
rest of your afternoon.
You as well. Thank you for having me on.